Hey, Han. Good morning to everybody and happy Thursday. Just want to say that I'm glad that you are here today. And just to let you know, there are some changes coming, of course, or not, maybe. Um, Last night, I listened to the school board meeting, which lasted about 2 hours, 2.5, 2 hours, 45 minutes. And in the school board meeting, they are having an emergency meeting on Saturday at 9 a.m. to discuss whether they're going to allow us to go back to hybrid learning after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday. So, um, after we celebrate the holiday on Monday, Tuesday, we're supposed to come back into virtual learning. Just wanted to give you a heads up that when we do that, school will now be starting at 7:20 instead of 8 o'clock. So hopefully you are enjoying your last couple of days here, being able to sleep in a little bit at least, or take time to do your homework. Then if they decide to stay virtual, everything will stay the same. I did do some math yesterday in your class. We have 13 in red days, 6 in black days, and 10 all virtual. So double the amount of students on a red day. So nothing's perfect. They can't balance every class, so that's what we have to deal with. All right, so we're gonna start off class today. We're gonna kind of go old school, just because we went new school the last couple days, and so when we do that, we are going to be taking a look at our warm up question, and once you respond, this is how you'll get your participation points today. The rest of the information I go over is going to be for the quiz tomorrow, and just touch up on some things. And then I got a cool activity for you to finish up class with. That'll be your choice. Um, on the warm up for today. So thinking outside the box, there's no correct answer per se. All right. It's an opinion. Gold and silver were important to the early explorers and colonizers. What is today's gold and silver? All right. What is our in 2021? What is the world's gold and silver now? What are we looking for to bring us fame and fortune and um, to gain an advantage over other people? So think about that. Put your answer in a private response here and give me about 90 seconds to take attendance and get people in who are not in. All right. Attendance has been taken. We got Tony here. So I've got 16 responses. I got 26 students out here. So still need about 10 more responses. Let's see. So I had a feeling this was going to be something like this. We got first answer is money or Bitcoins, I believe. That's pretty intuitive. Data and shares in a company, but data. So the data that social media collects on us is kind of like people mining, I guess, in the 1500s. Technology like phones, computers, money, paper money, that might be going. Social media followers, Bitcoin, lottery tickets, maybe. I think to be rich and famous has been the goal of people for a long time. Social media, technology, money. I think we all agree it's money, but I was curious on how the money would manifest itself. And a lot of people said there's different forms of new technology. I'm kind of surprised nobody answered with like Elon Musk's attempt to get to the moon to monopolize land on the moon. That could be one also. Obviously, Bitcoin. I read the other day that they're going to be putting Bitcoin ATM machines in some common places in big cities like Walgreens and CVS. So, and then social media. Obviously, if you haven't seen The Social Dilemma, I'm not telling you to watch it, but it might make you think a little bit. And the idea that gold and silver still is a luxury item, you're right. It's still traded at extremely high value to this day. So, thoughtful answers. Thank you. So we're gonna move on here, and I'd have no perfect way for you to take notes because I'm not in person and I can't look at you. But I'll promise you I'll keep this to about 10 minutes. And I'll keep it fairly interesting. So, just a reminder to everybody that you turn in your intro to me in a Canvas message if you did not turn it in yesterday. I already had 2 students this morning turn it into me. I graded them. I went back to school last night and worked from 7 to 10 just to get caught up on everything because I had a lot of meetings the last couple of days. So please do that so that your grades don't suffer. And we have another assignment today. So that'll be a chance for you to get some different type of grades in. All right. So yesterday on the John Green video, we talked a little bit about how what the people called the Mexica, or known as the Aztecs, they were the most famous of the Mesoamericans. That means Middle America civilizations. And Fernando Cortez from Spain and 450 of his conquistadors actually kind of duped Montezuma, who was the king and the god. Remember, the Aztecs looked at the king as God and was sitting on his throne in Tenochtitlan, which is that floating city, which is now Mexico City. And Cortez basically, Montezuma thought Cortez and his conquistadors might be the coming of God, who was going to destroy the earth. So he welcomed them into his palace. There, they found a room full of gold that was bigger than my classroom at school, from ceiling to floor, full of gold cups and gold earrings. And at that point, when Montezuma saw the greed of the Spanish conquistadors, he tried to imprison them in his palace, but they took Montezuma prisoner. They kidnapped him and they put him on top of the palace. And Montezuma was killed with bows and arrows and with rocks by his own people. And so then the conquistadors tried to escape off the island, and many of them drowned in the shallow waters of Lake Texcoco because they did not have they had all this gold in their pockets and in their bags, their satchels. And so the few that were able to live and get back to the mainland found that a lot of the Aztecs' rivals, who they had used to take live men for sacrifice, came to help them. And on top of that, the conquistadors had spread smallpox to the island. And so between smallpox and the fact that they now had a large army of people that didn't like the Aztecs, they were able to defeat, this prominent civilization that was known for its military prowess with 450 European men and the help of a handful of native tribes in the area. So that would be the end of one of the greatest civilizations in history. And that would be replaced by what they called New Spain. And the city they called it was Mexico City, named after the original Mexica. All right, the other famous civilization that we talked about first semester was the Incas. And the Incas were the largest civilization in the Americas, stretching over 3,000 miles in the Andes Mountains. And they say that Francisco Pizarro, who is another Spanish conquistador, came at a time when the Inca, the Sapa Inca, the leader Atahualpa, was in a war of succession against his brother or nephew. I think it's his nephew, actually, for who would be the next Sapa Inca. And they also had already been exposed to smallpox. And so between the smallpox and the fact that they were in a civil war, Pizarro was able to kidnap Atahualpa, defeat them in a battle near modern-day Lima, and the Spanish would call that their second viceroyalty. The first one was at Mexico City, and then Lima would prove to be the second major city for the Spanish in the Americas. And there's a coincidence there. That's why each city has over 10 million people to this day. But 168 Europeans defeated the great Inca. And now it took about 20 years for them to explore all of the Inca lands. But at that point, between disease and coercion, there was not much fight put up. All right, so this became the cycle then that we've been kind of beating around the bush with for the last week and a half. Okay, we had the explorers come in. We talked about Columbus quite a bit. But then you had the conquistadors that we just talked about, like Cortez and Pizarro, a little bit on your intro last week. Then the Catholic Church sent in missionaries, which were supposed to convert the natives to Catholicism. Then you send in permanent settlers, people willing to move to the New World for economic gain, and then you get a colony. Now, this little flow chart makes it look pretty nice. We all know it wasn't nearly this nice. And one of the biggest issues with the missionaries was, again, they needed labor to distract all of the gold and silver from their new territories. And if they converted natives, they could not allow them, they couldn't use them as slaves, which they had been doing. So it caused a lot of debates between the Catholic Church, the Spanish king, and then these missionaries that were there and these conquistadors who just wanted to make money. So here's here's kind of a eye opener for you. So you take a look at these years. This is millions of pesos de ochos, which was the Spanish silver coin. And so you can see how by 1600, close to 35 million pesos de ochos were being brought into Europe or taken straight to China for trade from Spain. From the New World. Ian asked a great question. Did it drop so rapidly because of the Spanish Armada? Spanish Armada was 1588. You'll see that it's actually fairly successful in following years after that, but then you see a massive decline. The Spanish Armada really was almost more of a like a moral defeat. I mean, down eventually it would economically it would hurt them, but their reputation is dinged. This caused that like piracy became way more common, and then the decline came when the British and then eventually the French became extremely powerful, and the British and the French basically replaced the Spanish. And even though the Spanish would have this massive empire, um, they so drastically mined these areas and got so deep into the earth and didn't really have the technology like they did in the Industrial Revolution to go, a mile into the earth and get out of it, that there was no silver or gold left near the surface of the earth to mine anymore. So they had to figure out how to make other crops. So then they started growing crops, which are good and they can be used, in the triangular trade, but they're not as valuable as silver or gold. Hopefully that helps. There's only so much. So let's think about it. Gold, God, or glory. Okay, this is kind of the old adage that why the Europeans wanted to explore. Well, a chance to make more money, chance to spread Catholicism or Christianity, or to be famous. Which one of these three win out? Well, take a look at the graph, and you can figure out that it's gold and making money that they're most concerned about. So, got 2 slides left. All right. So here's the deal. When people moved to the New World from Europe, they would ask the Spanish king for what's called an encomienda. All right. And the encomienda was a chunk of land. Okay. And then it was all the people that lived on that land would go straight to a settler, typically a Spanish or European settler, depending on, if the Spanish king owed someone a debt, that they would give them this land, and all the natives that lived on that land were theirs and had to pay them with taxes in however form they demanded it in. Could be trade, it could be in raw materials, it could be, like I said, labor, like you have to work so many days in my mine or on my field. And so that was called an encomienda. An encomendero was somebody that was willing to move to the New World to take a risk. Typically, these were lower nobility, or like third, fourth, fifth, sixth born children to nobles who did not have an ability to gain their own land in Europe because it was all carved up. So they wanted to move to the Americas to get some type of land. And a lot of times their wives and family wouldn't come with them. So they would send money back to Spain, and the encomendero would just come by himself. All right. So that set up the basis for this is kind of, like I said, Peru and New Spain, with Lima and Mexico City being the capitals. You can see the Portuguese in Brazil, that's their early colony. Other European countries got in with sugar plantations pretty quickly. Then you can see up in North America where the Dutch, close to New York, which the English will eventually buy. You can see the English colonies starting to form, and you can see French forts in Montreal, Quebec in the north. So that would institute then this racial policy that still has a distinct effect in and around the Americas. Okay, so they literally created a caste system in Spanish America. And eventually, Spanish America, again, would stretch from San Francisco, California, all the way down to the bottom of South America. Large land. Okay, and Peninsulares. This was a name given to anybody that was born in Europe but came to the New World. Okay, born in Europe, came to the New World. They're not. They are not really. Obviously, that was a position that was there at first, but eventually that slowed down. People wanting to come. Creoles. These were the children of Peninsulares. So they had 2 white parents from Europe but they were born in the Americas. They are the people that will eventually lead independence movements in the 1820s and 1830s in Europe, but it takes a couple hundred, or in the Americas, it takes a couple hundred years for that to happen. The mestizos, these are, this would have been a European, typically male, who had a affair with a Native American, and so their child would be called a mestizo. Okay, this is a highly racial term today that is racist, but a European who had sex with an African slave and made a child, their child would be called a mulatto, which was mixed between European and African mix. Then below that, you had pure natives, and then below that, the imported slaves that we're going to talk about all next week. And so this was called the Sociedad de Castas, or the caste system of society, if you translate it into English. And this lasted from the 1500s all the way to, like you said, the 1820s, 1830s, when the Creoles gained independence over Spain and Portugal. But in reality, there still are obviously racial issues throughout the Spanish world and all of North, South America, Central America, due to the policies that they enacted pretty quickly. Take a look at this. This is called a Castas painting. Okay. Whereas I told you there were, six different levels of the Sociedad de Castas, they even broke it down into even further. And you can see here that they would put everybody into one of these categories, and that would determine how much rights you had. Rights to inheritance, rights to land. And if you're saying to yourself, this is super racist, you're 1,000% correct. This is judging people based on their skin color. Okay. This would cause a lot of the problems that we have to this day. And again, this painting is just an example of racism, not even based on science, but based on inaccurate fallacies that were designed to put one class over another. Okay, one race over another. All right, so we'll talk more about that, a lot more about it next week. Let's talk about the impact of European expansion and colonization. Then, just gonna sum it up real quick for you here. Okay, one, native populations are ravaged by disease when the Europeans arrive. Anywhere from 30 to 50 million people just died right away from famine because they were either being worked to do unnatural things, and at the same time they suffered from measles, mumps, smallpox, etc. Lots more gold and silver available, which completely just changed the economies around the world. All of those original economies along the Silk Trade route, even on the other side of the world, were affected by the amount of gold and silver available. 3, a lot of new products were introduced across the continent. So we talked about the Columbian Exchange. Rice was not available in the Americas, but the potato and corn wasn't available to Afro-Eurasians, Africa, Europe, or Asians. And a lot of other things came across. Okay. 4, you now had colonial rivalries, which is going to lead to lots and lots and lots of wars. Even World War I, World War II will be affected by this early exploration that goes all the way to 70 years ago, 75 years ago. And then lastly, and this is the big one, as we're going to get into this next week, is you've got an African diaspora. That means the spreading out of Africans due to the demand for labor and the racist attitudes of these European countries, which causes 10 to 12 million slaves to be brought from the West African coast to various places in the Americas to get these cash crops to fuel mercantilism. All right. So that's what I got for you. Thanks for your patience. Like I said, I was going to try to cut that was about 16 minutes. All right. What I want to do now is on this last slide, we've got an activity. This class has 19 minutes, so you can do either one of these very easily. I'm going to show you what it is on Canvas, but you're going to have two options. You're going to watch a video about mining and silver coins and Spanish ships. It's pretty interesting how money became available, how the mines worked. Or you're going to read an article about Riches Potosi and then respond to the prompt or make a poem about it. So I'm going to do a new or stop the share for 1 second real quick here and exit this. And show you where this assignment is, and then we will be done for the day. So let me show you where the assignment is and what the prompts are here. All right, so we're in week number 2. So these were these notes. I didn't tell you that, but they're up here. If you want to use them on your quiz tomorrow, go back and review them. 514 end of World War II video. Wow, I must have been losing it yesterday. I'm going to click on this. I don't know why it would. Oh, I put the wrong assignment in here. This is goofy. My bad. Let me get rid of this. I meant to put in the 114 assignment. I'm doing that right now. Huh. Yeah. Whoops. All right, there we go. So here's your assignment to turn in. It says, watch the video link below and respond to the following prompt in 3 to 5 well-written sentences. What effect did silver from the New World have on the rest of the world? This is fairly entertaining, 7 minutes long, okay? Or read the following article, Rich as Potosi, and respond to the following prompt. What would it have been like to live in Potosi as a miner during the late 1500s? Explain in 3 to 5 well-written sentences, or write a 3 to 5 stanza poem explaining what life would have been like. Both take the same amount of time. The article, Rich as Potosi, goes into how nasty the mines was in the labor and how they treated the natives and slaves that were brought in, and just kind of some of the stuff that they did and how this town got really rich. The video talks about how Spanish made coins, talks about how they mine the silver too, just different ways. So submit this as a text entry. You've got 16 minutes to do this. It's worth 10 points. Do not put it off. Do not go to the bathroom for 20 minutes, okay? I want everybody to turn this in today so they can get not just the participation points, but get another grade in the grade book, okay? And it's good review for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and stop the share here if everyone's comfortable. They see it. I got this from the bottom of week number 2 module, okay? And then turn in your intros if you didn't turn them in yet. I have a message. Francisco, don't leave yet. Everybody else, feel free to head out and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Have a good day.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Hey, Francisco.
Yeah, I'm here.
You said you turned in 1 and 2?
Yeah, I turned 1. Well, the first one I turned in
What's that? Francisco, you there?
and so I thought you already had put the gray on it.
Okay, I'll go back and look for them right now, okay? But I need you to upload them. I need you to send me a message if you turn them in late on Canvas, okay?
Oh, well, it wasn't late, so that's what I was saying.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go back and look right now. Maybe I made a mistake. Sorry.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Is this Alexis? Alexis, are you there?
Yeah.
Are you new to North Central?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, our class is technically done for the day because we're completing an assignment, okay? Can I show you a few things before you leave?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you how to access stuff in my course, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen with you. And this is the home page. So I think you found this today. So when class starts, you're 30 minutes late today, which you'll get on time. You'll figure it out. But you click on the live lessons to get on the Zoom. Okay. Um, if you want to, um, go to like classes that you missed and watch them, this is where I upload all of the classes right here. It said recorded class sessions. Okay.
Alright.
And then under modules, this was everything we did week 1. You don't need to worry about any of this, but this is week 2. And so each week we have reading questions called an intro, and I actually upload the textbook reading. So the reading questions are in the week number 2 intro. The actual reading is right there where it says textbook reading. And then we do have some Nearpod lessons that we did this week, like Tuesday and Wednesday. You don't have to worry about those. And then these were the notes I just went over today. And then this is the assignment students are doing right now. So if you could do one of these assignments today, and then you're going to turn it in. After you do one, you'll turn it in the same spot right here. Okay. And then I'll help you get started up again tomorrow. Okay. When you join class, you'll start to get more comfortable. Okay.
Alright. Wait. So class starts at 8?
Yes.
Oh, so I was late.
Where are you coming from?
Pike.
Okay. Let me see if I can find the schedule for you. Okay. 1 second. Don't get off here. I'm going to put this in the chat function, and then you can, obviously, then you'll have a schedule for today so you're not confused. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. All right. So I've got it right here. I'm going to just put this in the chat function. So you can copy and paste that on your computer somewhere. So that's the schedule we're on for today and tomorrow, all right?
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.